Alright, so this is the video of Dad's Atlantic crossing, and it has taken a while because we did a full take before this, and
it was rubbish.
Yeah, and this is what we got. So.
Yeah, we got there in the end, and yeah, he's a walk-up start. This could be a life-threatening situation. So by that stage, all enjoyment about crossing the Atlantic had evaporated.
This is the second take. We're trying to condense it a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm told to stop waffling. Yeah, so now we said goodbye to the Sinclairs in Lanzarote.
Yep, 3 degrees to the port side, please. Hold that line, you're doing well.
And they were going to stay in the Canaries for a couple of months and enjoy Christmas break. And Corey and I welcomed 3 new crew members for the Atlantic crossing. We welcomed aboard Alexi, 23, Valentine, 27, and Honora, 21-year-old, to the crew. And we kept monitoring weather, and while we were monitoring weather, we prepared about 15 pre-cooked meals. We finally got a break in the big North Atlantic storms, and we headed off on the 10th to the 12th with 900 litres of water and about 200 litres of emergency water for the crossing.
No water maker. The water maker died.
So yeah, with no ability to make water, this was going to be interesting because we're going to have to really be careful with showers and washing for the next 3 weeks. But the crew were all aware of it, so they were all happy with the situation, so we decided we were going to go. So we headed south towards Cape Verde, and basically to avoid these bigger swells out.
You had a lovely sail down the African coast though, didn't you?
Yeah, well we motor sailed initially just to avoid the big swells, and then the breeze started kicking in, and then when it kicked around with a bit more east in it, we pulled away and started heading across about, I think we're about 200 miles north of Cape Verde.
Send me one video from that little lake though, which is just glorious. It's the only part of this story that I wish I was a part of. Yeah, dolphins, sunrise, gorgeous.
Yeah, so then we, with Corey's enthusiasm, we cracked the spinnaker and we were making beautiful progress. The spinnaker looked wonderful, and we did just about a 200 mile a day, which is a very special sail. And we were going really, really well the next day, and unfortunately got a bit too cavalier about carrying the spinnaker in too much wind, and ended up blowing the spinnaker, which was a shame because we were running a deeper angle and going faster with the kite, but we couldn't do that anymore. And okay, that was not a real drama because I didn't know how long we'd have it for anyway. We kept on going. Then we saw, first of our major problems happened, was we saw a forecast increasing in breeze strength and swell size, and we decided we better take in a bit more sail. We attempted to, in rearranging the stack pack to do this, all of a sudden the seam on the stack pack let go and we had no stack pack and therefore no ability to reef the main.
I'll throw an image in of what the stack pack is for non-sailing people.
It's a bag that attaches to the boom, which actually holds the sail when the sail is down.
Yeah.
So it actually holds the parts of the sail you're not using when you're reefing.
It's a storage bag.
Yes.
But a lot more important than that sounds.
Yeah, so without it, we had no way to store the sail. So then Corey did some heroics, looked a bit like a Bundaberg drop bear up the mast, manufactured a rope bag and caught the sail, and we dropped the sail in the bag and had to lash it to the boom. This meant we were now down to only a Genoa to finish the rest of the Atlantic, and we had about 1,800 miles to go at that stage. That was all right. We're tracking along at 7 knots. This didn't seem too bad, and we were doing nearly 8 to 8.5 knots when it got up with really strong breeze. But then the next big thing happened, which was not funny. You know, about 1 o'clock in the morning, after having just crossed the path of a tanker, all of a sudden an alarm went and the boat started doing a 360 mid-Atlantic in 5 metre seas. I thought somebody had pressed the button, went up and reset it, and it seemed to be back on course, but before I even got back downstairs, off the alarm went again. We did another 360. And I thought, oh bugger. Well, we turned off the autopilot, and then I said, we'll have to manual steer till morning, and we sorted it out. In the morning came, we looked, and we had a failed autopilot. Well, this was now not so good. We're now down to just Genoa, 1,600 nautical miles to go, and we've
Not just
got
a software thing either, like hydraulic oil all through the engine bay.
Yep. So we 1,600 miles to go and having to hand steer. This is where everybody in the crew was lucky we had 5 because we were able to share the load. If it had just been me and Corey, we would have been exhausted having to hand steer that distance. The crew were fantastic.
What are you doing? Caught with your pants down.
The 3 of them all aimed up, and none of them shirked their shifts. And did their watches, and all rose to the occasion, no matter what the
all
difficulty.
the way to the Caribbean.
And it was not enjoyable, but we still made ridiculously good progress. We still averaged about 6.5 to 7 knots with just a Genoa. So you'll see by some of the photos that Robert put up when we actually did finally. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention. We actually caught our first fish on Evenstar.
At this rate, maybe the last.
It's a shame for my passion's sailing, my son's passion's fishing, and he's still the hook one on this boat.
Yeah, we're constantly at odds when we're on sail as well.
Yeah. So finally, we caught a couple of nice mahi, which cooked up beautifully. And they're actually a beautiful fish. They're so pretty. You feel disappointed after catching them. When we finally did see land, we were actually very elated. We didn't kiss the dock when we arrived, but some of us felt like it. And the last little thing, well, I forgot to mention, I should mention it because I nearly killed one of the crew. After poor old Nora was up on helm, and fortunately we had the bimini up, and the boom with the mainsail lashed to it. Put it this way, the main is so heavy, it's it's an 80 square metre sail, so it's about 800 square foot for the layman, and it's heavy. And with that lash to the boom, there's a lot of weight. And the topping lift, which actually holds the boom up off the deck when there's no sail aloft, the topping lift broke. And very fortunately for Nora, who was helming at the time, the bimini frame held the weight of the boom and sail, and all she got was a slight bump on top of the head, rather than a broken neck. So it was eventful. It was traumatic at times. I don't think any of us are rushing to go and do it again. To me, that's the Atlantic done and dusted. And I might finish with one thing: washing machine manufacturers should call their extra heavy duty cycle the Atlantic cycle, because it felt like we did 2,000 miles in a washing machine with the agitator going full bore.
In summary, again, glad I wasn't on it.
In summary, I'm pleased he wasn't on it.
We've covered lowlights, highlights from the crossing.
The highlights to me were just
camaraderie, friendship.
Yes.
Friendship was the winner.
Yes, and the way that when I thought everything was going to shit, the way the young kids in the crew aimed up, and they were not getting as down as I was. In fact, Corey roused on me at one stage and just told me to get it together. So, but yeah, the young ones were fine. They weren't stressed about it as much. I was starting to feel at one stage pretty responsible for the fact that I had the care of 3 young people in my responsibility, and I felt I was letting them down at one stage. Now, we got through it okay. Huge thank you to Corey. Could not have done it without him. He wished he'd been part of this video. Actually, he had more right to say things on this than I did.
I have tried to get him into the video, and I was even going to write down a few questions to ask him so I could read out his responses. Actually, I haven't sent them to him, but I will. The first one was between Dad and Iris. Who does he think required the most parenting? Iris being the 2-year-old that went to Gibraltar with them. And question number 2 I had for him was, was given the choice between Evenstar and the Titanic, which would he like to cross the Atlantic on again? We'll get his responses later.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not the last time Corey's on the boat.
Sounds Corey's attitude sounds ideal for what you were going through and what you needed to do.
Yeah, just a
Bit of a rascal.
Ask Dilsey how's he's going. Happy New Year, Dilsey.
Happy New Year,
Are
Josie.
you leaving on a jet plane or what?
This is English Antigua.
And what are you doing?
Taxi!
Taxi!
Taxi! Get out of the way! Get out of the way!
yeah, but reliable. Reliable. You like WD-40 for any bad situation. So we finally arrived in Antigua and docked into Jolly Harbour Marina in Antigua. Very welcome sight getting in there. Very expensive little place. Unfortunately, we arrived New Year's Day, and we left having left on 10th of January. We had a 20-day crossing. But arriving in Antigua at that time of year with all the work we had been doing, it was impossible to get any work done. And I knew of somebody in Saint-Martin who was going to be able to assist with repairs and getting things done. And so we left pretty well straight away and headed to Saint-Martin. Anyhow,
All right.
Anya, thanks mate.
Anything else?